The Good German. The Good German is a 2006 American film adaptation of Joseph Kanon's 2001 novel of the same name. It was directed by Steven Soderbergh and stars George Clooney, Cate Blanchett, and Tobey Maguire. Set in Berlin following the Allied victory over the Nazis, it begins as a murder mystery but weaves in elements involving the American post-war employment of Nazi rocket scientists in Operation Paperclip. The film was shot in black and white and is designed to imitate the appearance of film noir from the 1940s, although it also includes material such as sex scenes and swearing that would have been prohibited by the production code. Its poster is a homage to the poster for the classic film Casablanca 1942, also a Warner Bros. Film, as is the closing scene at an airport. The DVD release presents the film in the 1.33:1 aspect ratio, which declined in use from about 1953, though the theatrical release and other DVD releases used the slightly more modern but still unusual 1.66:1 ratio. The film received mixed reviews and grossed $5.09 million worldwide against a budget of $32 million. Plot: Jacob Jasmer George Clooney, an American war correspondent for the New Republic, returns to Berlin during the Potsdam negotiations between the Allied powers after World War II was over in Europe May 1945, but before hostilities ended. Jacob witnesses his murdered driver, a black marketeering American soldier named Tobey Maguire, being fished from a river eddy suspiciously adjacent to the Potsdam Conference grounds. The corpse is discovered to be in possession of 50,000 German Reichsmarks, which are later revealed to have been printed by the U.S. occupying forces. Jasmer becomes entwined in both the mystery of his murdered driver and the clandestine search by both Soviet and American forces for the missing German Emil Brandt, the title character, played by Christian Oliver. He becomes more involved in both mysteries as his investigation intersects with his search for Lena Brandt, Cate Blanchett, a Jew and Emil's wife with whom Jasmer had been in a relationship prior to the war. Lena has survived the Holocaust by doing what she had to stay alive. Early in the film this is assumed to be prostitution, but Lena, based loosely on the Jewish collaborator Stella Goldschlag, is later revealed to be secretly complicit in the deportation of her fellow Jews. In the film, Emil Brandt is a former SS officer who had been the secretary of Franz Bettmann, chief production engineer of the V-2 rocket at concentration camp Mittelbau/Mittelwerk. Bettmann is only a minor character in the film. He appears to be based on the real Arthur Rudolph. The Soviets, the Americans, and the British all try to get hold of Emil Brandt for different reasons. The Americans have already detained Bettmann in a safe house and intend to transport him to the U.S. as part of their Operation Overcast/Paperclip to have him work on their own rocket program CF. Wernher von Braun. In the film, they are fully aware of Bettmann's role at Camp Dora and know about the slave labor used in the V-2 program, but want to cover up his involvement because they could not lawfully employ a known war criminal, which includes eliminating Emil Brandt, whose testimony or written notes would prevent their whitewashing of Bettmann. Jasmer, in his attempts to get his former lover, Lena, out of Berlin, gets more and more involved in the search for Emil Brandt. At one point, Lena gives Emil's notes on Camp Dora to Jasmer. When Lena and Jasmer try to hand Emil Brandt over to the American prosecutor charged with handling war crimes cases, they are intercepted by the American authorities who want to protect Bettmann, and Brandt is murdered. But Jasmer still has Brandt's notebooks, which he now trades into the war crimes investigators of the U.S. Army, who have turned out to be in league with the other American authorities, the ones who want to keep that evidence confidential to whitewash Bettmann in exchange for a Persilschein identification document and a visa for Lena, such that she can leave Germany. Through a minor character of a Jewish owner of a pawn shop. Cast: George Clooney as Captain Jacob Jasmer, Cate Blanchett as Lena Brandt, Tobey Maguire as Corporal Patrick Tully, Beau Bridges as Colonel Muller, Tony Curran as Danny, Leland Orser as Captain Bernie Tatel, Jack Thompson as Congressman Bramer, Robin Wagert as Hannelore, Ravel Isianov as General Sikorsky, Dave Power as Lieutenant Hasso Schiffer, Christian Oliver as Emil Brandt. Production. The film imitates the appearance of films from classical Hollywood studio era. Most of the scenes were shot on sound stages and on Universal Studios' backlot, and were then edited with archival Russian footage and archived film from Corbus. Although the finished film is in black and white, it was shot in color because this allowed the use of faster film than available black and white film stocks and afforded the ability to use green screen techniques. The color was then reduced in post-production through the use of a digital intermediate to a grainier black and white in order to blend with the carefully restored archival material. Unlike modern films that are shot with significant coverage and mostly with close-ups or two shots, The Good German was shot with 1940s era wide-angle lenses, such as a 32 mm, with deep focus, strongly accented camera angles, and entire scenes staged. Director Steven Soderbergh said, "That kind of staging is a lost art, which is too bad. The reason they no longer work that way is because it means making choices, real choices, and sticking to them, to them, and to them, and to them, to them, and to them, and to them, to them, and to them, and king to them, to them, and to them, to them, to them, to them, and to them, to them." That's not what people do now. They want all the options they can get in the editing room. The set lighting was entirely incandescent, and the audio was recorded on a boom mic instead of the more modern body mics or ADR. These decisions, combined with the limited coverage, allowed the rough cut to be produced in 2 days after wrapping up filming. Title and theme. Good Germans is a term referring to German citizens during and after World War II who claimed not to have supported the Nazi regime, but remained silent and did not resist in a meaningful way. In addition, the title is an allusion to the phrase common among soldiers of the Allied powers during the invasion of Europe after D-Day. Thematically, the film centers on guilt and whether it is possible to survive the atrocities while being unaware of and not complicit in them. Reception. Critical response. The Good German received generally mixed reviews, with many critics complaining that it was too reliant on style and did not concentrate on the building of characters. As of June 2020, the film holds a 34% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, based on 152 reviews with an average rating of 5.4/10. The site's consensus states, though Steven Soderbergh succeeds in emulating the glossy look of 1940s noirs, The Good German ultimately ends up as a self-conscious exercise in style that forgets to develop compelling characters. On Metacritic, the film has an average score of 49 out of 100 based on 34 reviews, indicating mixed or average reviews. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone greatly appreciated the film. Box office. The film made $76,817 in its opening weekend in 5 U.S. theaters. It had a worldwide gross of $5,914,908, of which $1,308,696 was in the U.S. against a $32 million budget. Awards and nominations. The film was nominated for the Berlin International Film Festival Golden Bear and received an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Score.